Okay, so I'm sitting here eating at my desk. And I'm like, I'll go ahead and just film my Chucky review. So sorry if I'm all. Anyway, last week I didn't do a review for episode 3 because it wasn't that good. I didn't really like it. I mean, I was mixed on it, but nothing really happened. I'm hearing people call it filler. I wouldn't say it was filler, but just what was the point, you know? Um, I'll quickly go over it before I get into episode 4 because that one's it's a motherfucker. I'm also mixed on episode 4, but I liked it better than 3. In episode 3, we see Chucky kind of coaching, is the word I'm hearing, like coaching Jake to go ahead and try and kill Lexi after what she did. And you see him practicing, you know, looking at knives. Even goes as far as to run up on who we thought was Lexi, but it was actually his cousin. And, the word I'm hearing you throwing around is actually grooming, which, yeah, that too. But coaching is way less, well, But yeah, you know, that's basically the episode. And the kill in that one, it was funny. And it was interspliced with Chucky's first kill, which happened right after he witnessed somebody like murder someone in his house, presumably his father. Like it's literally he killed this person in the exact same way that person killed presumably his father. And there's a twist, like we all saw it coming at some point in time. Like they still had a twist on it, but we saw it coming, but they still, pulled the wool over our eyes, what have you. And it's like, okay, it was good to know Chucky would have always been a killer. Like, I mean, I believe less is more when it comes to like Michael Myers and Leatherface, who somehow has that one with two fucking prequels. Like, why? Like, less is more. Except in Next Mutation, I need to know why he's like that in that one. Yeah, Chucky. I know all I need to about Charles Lee Ray. I don't need the flashbacks and the backstory when he was a kid. I don't need that. But yeah, and so the kill in episode 3 is when Chucky goes after Lexi because Jake had his chance. Lexi came to see him to apologize. She wanted something, obviously. And Jake is rightfully like, no, fuck you. And just like, but it's for my sister. And he's like, fuck you, you know? But then Chucky's like, no, no, no. Give me to her. I'll do your job for you. Of course, not before calling him a pussy, which was funny. And I like the expression on Chucky's face when he said it, which is one of the few um, effects on Chucky I liked in episode 3. Like, he was kind of off in that one. But yeah, and he gives Lexi the doll, goes over there, gives her the doll, Chucky. Sees to do what he does. There's a party going on because, of course, there is, you know. And Chucky runs up on who he thought was Lexi. He's like, hey, Lexi, stab. And he sees this, who we thought it was going to be. Again, we saw it coming. We didn't think it was this soon. And he's like, oh shit, I thought you were Lexi. Fuck it. And he keeps stabbing him. Like, okay, that was kind of funny. And it's the exact same kill from earlier that Chucky witnessed as a kid. Just stabbing the crap out of him. The highlight of the episode is also one of the biggest middle fingers of the episode, where Chucky finally hunts down Lexi, finally, one on one. And he set fire to her house. Lexi's in her room, just. Oh, wait, I skipped something. Hold on. Lexi sings her sister, Don't Feel the Reaper. The irony. Yeah, so yeah, Lexi's in her room, cowering and shit, and Chucky goes to see her, and it's on fire, and Chucky's just demented. He's doing his laugh. He's running up on her. He's, and it looks beautiful. That's where the few moments Chucky looks great with the fire in the background, his hair waving, that look in his eyes, with the knife. Lexi screaming for dear life. It was beautiful. And then it cuts to commercial. You're like, what the fuck? You know? And when you come back from commercial, you see Jake at the cemetery visiting his parents in tears because he hears the sirens. He thinks Chucky's done it. So yeah, he just goes, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Okay, and then the episode ends, and they play the trailer for episode 4, and you see Lexi at her sister's bedside. It's like, what the fuck? Did Chucky fuck with her? I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but that's an elaborate joke. So to play with somebody you want to murder, you know? Yeah. So I didn't get that. It was so beautiful, so beautifully set up, and then just fucking with you. Like what? Episode 4. Okay. This one again, I was mixed on, but I liked it a lot more than 3. A lot more. Um, and so we get more exposition about Charles Lee Ray. This time it's teenage Charles Lee Ray and his Lost Boys. I like that touch. I get the reference. I get it. And young teenage Charles Lee Ray, he's at this youth center, helping these younger kids, and he's doing a great job. And this janitor starts fucking with him because he gets dirt on the floor. And next thing you know, he has his Lost Boys going through the woods looking for Captain Hook. You can piece together what the fuck. And it's revealed one of those kids is his partner, Andy Caputo, from the first movie. I heard that name. I was like, wait, what? I know who it was at the time, but then I did some research. Andy Caputo. Oh shit, that's dude from the first movie that he blew up. Okay, good continuity. But yeah, I don't get you know some of the flashback, but it was alright, I guess. I mean, the teenager didn't do a good job, but again, I don't need to know any more about Charles Lee Ray. I mean, there was a good reference there, but mm, not present day. So it takes place completely at a hospital, mostly for the most part. And Diamond City says to himself, the Halloween episode was an homage to Halloween. This one is an homage to Halloween 2. I actually thought it was an homage to Halloween Kills. I'm glad I was wrong, partially. But yeah, and I mean, like Halloween Kills, tempers are flaring in the hospital. People are coming to blows and shit. But it's not at that Halloween Kills level, thankfully. Yeah. So, like in the previous episode, in episode 3, you saw hints of a possible alliance between Lexi and Jake. You had the chance, you fucked it up, you turned on Monster Hill. Nope. In this one, they're really trying to handle their own, that baby's gonna be an alliance and all that. Like, I was fine with a face turn before she went Monster Hill. I don't even want a face turn right now, if ever. Okay, but no. So yeah, and Lexi, she goes to find Jake. She's like, Chucky did this. Jake's like, yeah, I know. I sent him to murder you. She's like, what the fuck? You know, like, don't talk to me, all that. You would get it. If she weren't Lexi. You know. And so yeah, she storms off, all pissed off, partially rightfully so. And then only to come back a few minutes later, like, okay, so how do we stop him? You know. And obviously Jake, he's first got to go first. He's not even, you know, like want to deal with her none of that. And she's like, you're the only one that believes me. Like we gotta stop him. He's like, okay, fine. Like reluctantly, it's like, okay, fine. And so the one time they leave the hospital is when they go to the house, to Lexi's burnt up house, and it's there that we get some of the best. Like I love the dialogue in this show. I said it before. I will say it again. I love the dialogue in this show. I love the dialogue between Chucky and Jake. And I love the dialogue between Lexi and Jake, especially in this one. Again, I don't want a face turn. I don't want an alliance. Just saying. Yeah. And she's like really like on his ass about putting her sister in the hospital and sending Chucky after her and all that. And Jake's like, he finally snaps. He's like, hell yeah, I want to do that. Like, yeah, I want to murder you because you're awful. You don't care who you hurt. He's really getting in her ass. Then she falls, and he grabs her arm. And I heard some say it looks like Lion King when Scar has Mufasa, except Scar turns heel. We all know that. This time around, you got Chucky, who you hadn't seen most of the episode, walking out of the darkness to like this kind of sorry, like this kind of gothic to this kind of gothic organ music, which is appropriate because he looks like something right out of Phantom of the Opera. Whenever he unmasks and you see the hideous side of his face, that's what Chucky looks like, all burnt up and shit. And he walks out, the darkness is covering the burnt half of his face, and you see it. And he has that just demented look in his eyes. One eye slightly drooped. I heard like Toxic Avenger. That's a good reference. That was, I'll take it. But yeah, I'm like, okay, I somewhat like that effect. All right. And once again, it's like, Jake, here's your chance. Do it. It's so simple. All that shit. And then Chucky starts jumping at her with his knife, just. And Chucky's like 2 feet tall off that, and he's just barely nipping her shoes. So this tells you that she's not too far off the ground that Jake could drop her and she'd be fine, right? Still, I see what they're trying to do here. I see it like something that Jake is not a murderer. Okay, fine, fine. And he pulls her up, and Chucky, and then the police show up, and Chucky sits down in his dog stance, and the cop's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? This is a crime scene. You kids shouldn't be here." Takes the dog, and it's like tells Lexi, "Oh yeah, your dad wanted me to get this dog to give to your sister. This burnt up ass, crispy ass, at this point toxic ass dog. We'll take it to this young girl who was in the hospital in a coma because she was in a fire. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't let that dog anywhere near really anyone in the children's hospital, especially. Like, come on, no. Like this episode was a lot for me because I spent a lot of my own life in the hospital as a child, and a lot of my adult life as well. Like as a child, I basically lived in the hospital. So let's talk about the hospital shit, shall we? So they're at the hospital, and the cop gets out of the car. The kids are like, "Hey, wait, don't take that dog in there." The cop's like, "Whatever, fuck you." And he goes into the hospital. The kids get out of the car, and this cop, I don't know what the scene was. There's a payoff. There is a payoff. I didn't know what the fuck. Okay. So the cop walks into Lexi's sister's room, starts just eating her food, her donuts and her cookies and shit. I'm like, okay. I know firsthand how hard it is to get some food you can actually eat in the hospital when you're in the hospital. Okay. Never mind allergies and stuff like that. Like I know how hard that is. So you just press this cargo you're eating, dude. Press this cargo. And yeah, he's just eating her shit and maybe saying something to Chucky occasionally until finally, and I mean finally, Chucky gets up and Chucky gets up and he stabs dude. Okay, and Chucky's one liner. "I'm sorry, but from the second I saw your face, I knew I wanted to murder you. You just pissed me off. This is what it is." Like, okay, that was funny. Was it worth all that? Whatever that was, I don't know. And so Chucky, I hate this next part again because I've been in the hospital and I call bullshit on one hand. On the other hand, I don't fucking do needles, man. I do not do needles. Okay? Like, I don't know if you can see on my arm. Those are all from needles. I got them all over both my arms. From being in the hospital, I do not fuck with needles, okay? No. I've never had a needle that I wanted. Ever. Okay? I don't care if it's getting blood drawn, getting the vaccine, receiving medicine. Fuck needles. Okay, so this next part, I'm not usually one for trigger warnings, but one would have been greatly appreciated for this next part. Chucky finds this toolbox, this toy toolbox looking thing full of huge bloody needles of varying sizes. Okay, I'm like, first of all, that's not how that would work at all. They have a bin for that in the room against the wall. What the fuck is this easily accessible shit? Like, no, that's not how that would work. Chucky takes one of these used ass needles and starts stabbing the cop repeatedly, and it goes on for a while. At one point, I was like, please make it stop, because the needles pierce, ugh. So he just keeps stabbing him and laughing. I'm like, oh my goodness, like no, like ugh. And I just watched Saw 2, so the whole pit of needles was still in my mind. But rewatch Saw 2. Every time that pit of needles comes up, I'm like, oh hell no. And they pull her out, but no. And I saw this right after. I'm like, no, fuck that noise. Just And then the logo for the show, I waited till now to tell you, was made up of needles, okay, and scalpels and shit, but mostly needles and scalpels. Mostly needles. I'm like, ugh, fuck needles. I hate needles. And Chucky's still stabbing it. He's still stabbing this dude. Because their needles are only like, hold on, not even like maybe that big. And he's just stabbing it. I'm like, why are you still going? Like, no. And this girl is sleeping right there. That's my ultimate fucking nightmare in the hospital. Okay? Like, I woken up to them trying to draw blood. And I was like, oh no. They're like, no, no. I hate that. Like, I need to see the needle going in. To process the needle going in. Okay, they tried all the tricks. None of that worked. Look over there. None of that works. I gotta see the shit go in. They go stick up on me with that shit. Especially when I'm asleep. Not again. No. Like it's like a running joke when I'm in the hospital. I be trying to sneak in and I wake up like, they're like, damn it, I'm trying to sneak up on you. It's like, that's not gonna happen. Or, you're still up. I'm like, yep, keeping watch. But no, I hate that. Uh, but no. I sleep during the shift change at the hospital. Fuck that noise. No. I hate needles. And Chucky stabbed him so much for so long. And I'm like, thankfully, they didn't show the aftermath. And then we see Chucky pull the plug on the young girl. Literally, he pulls the plug out the wall. And, the medical officials come in about to fuck her up because she's still alive with the silver in her mouth. And they think she's cold or whatever. But then when the nurse, she notices that the plug is unplugged, she plugs it back in. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. She plugs it back in. That's when she notices the blood puddle. Because I'm like, isn't that dude in there? And she starts screaming. And they saw the aftermath of all the dudes inside. I'm like, no. No. It's in his chest. And it's, no. 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 Just no. Uh. You see all the kids. You see all the main kids, Lexi, Jake, and Jake's love interest, all right there looking through the window because shit was going down with Lexi's sister, or so they thought. And you see Chucky just sitting there, and he flips him off, which is pretty funny. I don't think I've seen Chucky flip anyone off since prior Chucky. Uh, when you put that car up, when he's walking, and the stoner dude notices, and Chucky just flips him off, and dude goes, "Rude fucking dog, man." Like that's the last time I saw Chucky flip someone off. So yeah. Oh, and there was one one kind of legacy return that I didn't talk about the first episode because I didn't even know. Like Lexi's father, he is played by the same dude who played that nasty ass doctor in Cult of Chucky. Same dude. So yeah, they brought him back in a better role. In his words, a nicer role. So yeah, because I mentioned he loves to do that. He loves to repurpose roles. So yeah. And I almost forgot with Teenage Charlie Ray. I don't know what this was, but after he admires his work against that janitor, you see Chucky the doll's face kind of superimposed like Norman Bates at the end of Psycho with the skull. It's like that, but it's with Chucky the doll and Teenage Charlie Ray. I don't know what the fuck that was. I'm like, okay, you even hear the laughter, the Chucky laugh. from Brad Dorff. I'm like, what was that? I don't know. Um, Anything left to talk about this episode? I don't believe so. Yeah. So mixed, but better than the previous one by a mile. And it looks like next week is where we're finally getting more act like proper legacy returns. According to the trailer, Tiffany and female Chucky, Fiona Dorff, are set to return next week. So, hell yeah. Oh, also, multiple Chuckies confirmed because you see one in the hospital running around, not burned. Whenever Jake's cousin's going to get surgery, right? Like he's eyes like this, but you see a not burned Chucky walking around. So there you go. Multiple Chuckies confirmed. I can call it Chucky, which I still don't get, but all right. Love that movie, but I don't get that concept. But okay. And speaking of Jake's cousin, so Jake's aunt and uncle, Jake's cousin's parents, they have these scenes with Lexi's parents that remind me of a movie that's about to come out or either is out about these two parents, these two sets of parents whose kids did something fucked up. They got to talk about it. That's the whole movie. Them talking about it, having this dialogue about it. It reminds me of that. It's so well done. Martha Plimpton's in it, that movie. But yeah, the dialogue between the two is so good. The two parents, right? Because Lexi's parents are finally becoming wise to the fact that their daughter fucking sucks. Is basically a hell spine. Like they're finally coming to terms with that fact after being in denial. But you can't deny proof, okay? Like they show her Lexi doing the shit with the dead father. Like again, I love that teacher. Episode 3, that was another good moment. Uh, where they're at the school and the teacher called both and she called in both parents and Lexi's parents are like, okay, you got this is unsubstantiated, and she's like, I'm glad you said that, and produces the phone with a video of Lexi cosplaying, dressing up as Jake's dead father, and Jake's another Devon Shaw with the twin sees his twin like sees this and has a realization, and he's like, why in the fuck would you let your daughter do this? And the look on her parents' face was like, oh shit, like yeah. And you see more of that in this episode, because I find like Lexi, you're fucking, you're just you're a fucking house bond, and we don't know what to do with you right now. And she's like, no wait, they're like, no fuck you, okay, we got you, like she's finally somehow, some way, they're planting seeds for some kind of comeuppance. Okay, fine. And it might be by her parents who themselves needed some attitude adjustments, you know. But yeah, and so you got that whole scene and the scene with the two parents, the two sets of parents, and this entire series, Lexi's father's been almost silent throughout it until the hospital scene. It's like, hey, fuck you, okay, what are you doing? And then Jake's uncle's like, oh shit, who finally decided to show up? And then this is a good exchange until somebody throws a punch. Like I said, there was Flair. There's kind of almost a fight, but it stops. You know, it's stopped by the cop, Jake's interest, his mother, but stopped by her, who thinks it was Jake doing all this shit. Really? Oh, excuse me. Sorry, like really. Like in this world, Chucky exists. People know he exists. People know he did that shit, and it's his hometown. Why would you jump to say, "Oh, it's Chucky"? Like the dolls around. Like, why are you blaming the kid for this? Like, come on. But yeah. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, that was it. To talk about. Um, Again, mixed episode, but but I like this one better than the previous one. A lot better. So yeah, I don't want a Lexi face turn. At least not for a long fucking time if it needs to happen. I still want to see her, get her just desserts. You know what I mean? So yeah. But it looks like her and Jake are forming a partnership even more so now than the previous episode. Like, she even says, hey, thanks for not dropping me. And he's like, yes, sir. And it seems like Lexi's realizing that she fucking sucks. Like, alright, but I don't want to face turn. I like, like dickbag boyfriend from Halloween Kills. Like I didn't want that face turn, you know. But he still at the end of the day, Michael would to see Michael, and you know. So you know, that's all, man. Thank you for watching.